5 starts now.
Good evening. I'm Linda Swinford.
And I'm John Diaz. Thanks for joining us at 5. Topping our news tonight, Florida residents preparing for Hurricane Ian to make landfall. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a state of emergency for the entire state, urging residents to prepare for the worst. Though forecasters are unsure where exactly Ian will make landfall, they agree this storm will lash large sections of the state with heavy rains, whipping winds, and fierce flooding.
I want to stress that if you're ordered to evacuate, that you must comply with those evacuation instructions. So many times we see people second guess emergency managers and evacuation instructions, and it often costs them dearly.
More than 2,500 Florida National Guard members have been called in to respond ahead of the storm. President Joe Biden also declaring a state of emergency, authorizing FEMA to start coordinating disaster relief. And most of the west coast of Florida could still see serious damage from the high storm surge, even without a direct hit. Take a look at this map. You can look at Tampa and St. Petersburg area. Storm surge is projected between 6 to 10 feet. Now, this could change depending on the track of Ian and the track it takes and how strong the storm could get.
Gas prices are slowly rising after 99 days of trending lower. And while experts had warned prices could rise due to hurricanes, they say this time they are rising because of issues at refineries on the West Coast and the Midwest, not because of Hurricane Ian. Right now, the national average price of gas is $3.72. That's lower than in the Illinois Quad Cities, where gas is $3.90 on average. Across the river in Iowa, the average price of gas is $3.61 per gallon.
And today, the Quad Cities is hosting 2 river cruises. The American Melody and American Symphony are American Cruise Line's newest riverboats. News 8's Charles Hart shows us how today is a special occasion for the cruise liners and the community. It's new tonight at 5.
Riverboats docking in the Quad Cities once again.
This is one of 28 visits that they're going to have. Our American Cruise Lines will be stopping in Davenport.
But this time, there's 2.
This is a unique opportunity. The first time we've had 2 luxury cruise line ships here in the Quad Cities, and it's great that American Cruise Lines can be the company that actually brings them here.
And those luxury ships are the newest of their kind.
These ships are the brand new models that just were christened. The Melody is a year old. The Symphony is literally 30 days old. Was christened 30 days ago.
Now that the ships have officially taken to the mighty Mississippi, they are heading both directions up and down the river.
Going here all the way up to Minneapolis and then all the way back, or up to Red Wing and all the way back down to St. Louis and then on to New Orleans.
Passengers aboard the ships say they're enjoying the adventure.
This is actually my 3rd American Cruise Line cruise in a year, and they've all been just amazing. We're been pretty sold on the way they run things and the food, and we've just always had a wonderful time.
So it's an extraordinary history. The Mississippi River played a huge part, and I was a school teacher, so I'm learning for real all the history I studied in school.
More revenue from the cruises brings an extraordinary impact to our community.
I think we have to understand, too, this is a tremendous economic impact and assistance to visitors' development here and tourism.
And that same impact for years to come. In Davenport, Charles Hart, WQAD News 8.
And both ships can hold up to 175 passengers. A few weeks ago, Viking Cruise Lines made its first stop in the Quad Cities. Today was American Symphony's first bi-state visit as well. And certainly a great day to get here.
Now, I leave for a few weeks, and I am ushered in by fall temperatures. Not that I'm complaining. It was quite lovely.
Did you bring them with you is the question.
Apparently I did.
Because you arrived right as fall was kind of arriving, yeah.
It's no accident, my friend.
No accident. Well, thank you. James Sahara thanks you as well, I think, because he's enjoying this, right?
I'm so glad you guys are going at it and not at me. This is a nice change. I'm going to write this in my diary.
Friendly tussle.
It's only brief, too. Hey, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a nice weekend, too. Overall, wasn't all too bad. Currently today hasn't been even bad either. A few clouds scattered about. Temperatures, really, for the most part, have been in the 60s. All is dry. Bit breezy it has been at times, too, with those wind gusts over 30 miles an hour. But we expect these winds and gusts to ease up even more as we head into tonight, and that will spell a much cooler night. Currently at the airport of Moline, 64 degrees. Did get as high as 66. West-northwest winds around 16. This air is pretty dry, so we're going to see that temperature tumble in a big way. We'll go from the 50s early this evening to likely in the 40s before midnight, and bottoming out, I would say, around those lower 40s for overnight lows. Yeah, we got some cooler than normal numbers on the way, but also a long stretch of dry weather too. We'll tell you how long that's going to last coming up in just a few minutes. Linda?
Thank you, James. Demolition of the old I-74 bridge is underway. The process started back in 2017 and costs more than $20 million. News 8's Nina Burns joins us from the Illinois side of the bridge with more on this massive task. Hi, Nina.
Hi, Linda, and welcome back. Right now, they're in the process of removing the bridge's deck. Now, they're starting here in Moline and working their way towards Iowa. But when it comes to when and how they're going to implode the bridge, well, that answer may disappoint some Quad citizens.
When the plans were put out, it was kind of assumed that the contractor might implode.
The idea of the old I-74 bridge going out in one big bang might be going out the door.
The DOT leaves the means and methods of taking the structure down to the contractors.
I-74 corridor manager George Ryan says demolition contractor Helm Group plans on dismantling most of the bridge, a process they say will have less of an impact on the river.
Because they won't be dropping pieces into the river, they'll actually be lowering pieces onto the barge.
If left intact, many parts of the bridge are recyclable.
The reinforcement, the steel members, the floor members, the concrete will be crushed up and recycled. So, yes, much of it will be recycled.
While it might not be one big bang, the demolition could potentially implode smaller areas of the bridge.
Explosives could be used later on for other removals, potentially for the towers and the cable, but probably not for the floor sections.
But there are still ways to go in the demolition process.
Right now they're removing the deck, and that deck will be taken and crushed and recycled. And then the next process would be to remove the truss sections that are under the deck and then start removing, the deck level steel.
Now, Ryan says they've received quite a few requests from residents asking if they could purchase a small piece of the old bridge once it's down. And sadly, that answer is no. They're not going to be selling any part of the bridge to any residents. But don't get too upset, because they will be giving pieces of the bridge to museums locally where everyone can go and visit. Back to you guys.
All right, Nina, thank you very much. And demolition is expected to be complete by mid-2024.
Moline police are investigating after finding two cars underwater in the Mississippi River. The cars were found near the 55th Street boat ramp along Butterworth Parkway. So far, police have not said how the vehicles were discovered, but say the cars have been there for many years and were in several feet of mud.
3 people are dead after a car crash in Whiteside County on Saturday. Police say the location has had problems with speeding and serious accidents in the past. News 8's Jonathan Fong has more on how the accident happened.
It's this turn on Prophetstown Road in rural Rock Falls that police say tragically claimed the lives of 3 people on Saturday.
The Whiteside County Sheriff's Office says on Saturday night, a Dodge Charger was going down the road and lost control when trying to overcorrect. It entered the east ditch and rolled several times.
This is an extremely tough situation for all the people involved. The families, my heart goes out to the family. I personally know all 3 victims in the crash.
32-year-old Damian Martin, 27-year-old Antonio Caldillo, and 29-year-old Zachary McLeod were all killed in the crash. Illinois State Police working on an accident reconstruction to help the sheriff's office.
Our first responders, this is a tough situation. We have so many younger first responders that have to go out and handle situations like this.
Now, the crash still remains under investigation, but Sheriff Booker hopes that the accident will be a reminder to everyone to drive safely and go at reasonable speeds. In Rock Falls, Jonathan Fong, WQAD News 8.
Police say the victims were from Prophetstown, Rock Falls, and Sterling.
Lanes on the I-80 bridge between LeClaire and Rapid City will be closed starting tonight. Crews will be washing the bridge from 8 p.m. until 6 in the morning until Thursday. This will impact travel in both directions. All right, still ahead, a one-of-a-kind mission.
The reason NASA is purposefully crashing a spacecraft and how that could help with planetary defense.